Everybody can become wealthy. What you need is a dependable source of cash flow. I found that there were 21 secrets. The first one of all is dream big dreams. I couldn't believe it. Every single person who finally made it said the turning point in their life, they were driving down the road of life, not making much progress, which is that 80-20 rule that you hear. 80% of people make 20% of the money, and 20% of the people make 80% of the money. And what happens at a certain point in life, they change and go on a different road. And here's the turning point. It is make a decision. Make a decision that I'm going to become wealthy. I'm going to become a millionaire. And I will work hard, long hours. I will sacrifice. I will pay the price. I will do everything that is necessary. So I wanted to share with you what I call the 7 C's. So the first C is the C of clarity. Clarity is my favorite word in success. It's my favorite word in business. I have done consulting for more than 1,000 corporations, large companies worldwide, companies like IBM and General Motors and PepsiCo and Bank of America. I mean, big companies. And I've also worked with more than 10,000 small and medium-sized companies. And what I found is in every single situation, problems occur when the company becomes unclear about what it is they're doing or how it is they're doing it. All problems come from lack of clarity. What is your product? It's the first question you ask. Who is your customer? What does your customer consider to be more valuable than anything else? How are you superior to your competitors? What can you do to attract more customers? What can you do to close those customers? Number 2 is write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down. There's nothing more important than writing down your goals. Because if it's not written down, it's merely a fantasy. Now, they've done a whole series of studies at Harvard and Yale and Cornell and so on about the difference between students who type their notes and students who write their notes. The students who write their notes all get straight A's. The students who type their notes forget everything before the end of the day. Because writing forces you to use 3 abilities: your kinesthetic ability, your physical ability of writing, your audio ability, you see it when you're writing it, and your auditory ability, you say it to yourself when you're writing. So you activate the 3 major parts of your brain simultaneously, like a laser beam from a space station, zap, onto a piece of paper, and your subconscious mind accepts it as a command, and your superconscious mind starts to work on it 24 hours a day. Just write it down, write it down. And it's the most amazing darn thing. If all you did was write down one goal and leave this conference, your life would be different forever. And because all kinds of things will start to happen. And you'll say, well, that's a coincidence. I just wrote that goal down when I was in that meeting this afternoon, and then I got this phone call or something in the mail, or I saw something on TV, or something. It's just phenomenal. So step number 1, decide what you want. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, set a deadline. Tell your subconscious when you want it. I want this by such and such a date. So every goal always ends with a use by date. In other words, I achieved this goal by this date. And you write it in the present tense. Number 3 is make a list. Number 4, step number 4 is make a list of everything that you can think of to do. Just make a list, and as you think of more things, add it to the list. Keep writing it down, and sometimes you'll think of something in the middle of the night, write it down, keep a pad of paper next to your bed, and quickly write it down so you don't forget it. Just write it down, write it down. That's number 4, and this is really important. It's the great turning point, like a massive ship turning in the ocean. Your whole life starts to turn when you write down a list of the steps you're going to have to take. So take your list of goals and organize your list by priority. Make a checklist. What's number 1? What's number 2? What's number 3? And so on. And as you get more information, change the list, reorganize it, write it, move things up and down. Step number 6 is to take action on your list. Take action on the most important thing on your list. Do something, launch, get going, do it now, do it instant, do it immediately. Get up and do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be revising your papers, it can be making a phone call, it can be ordering a book, it could be something, but do something, which is sort of like the kickoff in a football game. Just kick the ball off as far as you can. And number 7, and this is going to make you rich, happy, popular, and thin. Number 7 is do something every day on your most important goal. Do something every day on your most important goal. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months. Don't worry about 2 years or 10 years or 5 years. Just 10 goals you'd like to accomplish in the next 12 months, and write them in the present tense, almost like you're submitting an order. And just write down, I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own, whatever it happens to be, and the goals will be financial goals, family goals, physical goals, and so on. Write down 10. And then you take this list of 10, and you say, if I had a magic wand, and I could wave this magic wand, and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Which one goal? And go over it. And usually this will jump out at you. It'll jump out at you like a spider in a horror movie. It'll grab you. And put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this simple exercise, then you'll all be rich. You'll all be rich. Nothing can stop you but yourself. So, number 2, the second C is the C of Competence. And the C of Competence says, it's very simple, is that you can only earn a lot of money if you're very good at what you do. And so one of the most important things you do is you break down your work into skills. And you say, what are the most important skills I need to have to be successful? And there's recruiting is a very important skill. Training is an important skill. Managing, motivating is an important skill. Leading, supervising, important skills. The third C is the C of concentration. And these are not necessarily in order, but in a way these are. The C of concentration is your ability to focus, which we talked about before. It's your ability to focus single-mindedly on one thing at a time and to work on that one task until it's complete. And to discipline yourself not to do anything else or to become distracted by emails and bells and bips and noises and things like that. It's just your ability to focus like a laser beam on a single task. Clarity, be absolutely clear about your goals and what you need to do to achieve them. And competence, become very good at your tasks. And number 3 is concentration. Concentrate single-mindedly on your most important task and stay with it until it's complete. Start and finish your most important task. Number 4 is constraints. Now, constraints is a concept that was developed in Tel Aviv by a management consultant many years ago. And it says that between where you are today and where you want to be sometime in the future, a goal, there is always one constraint or choke point that determines the speed at which you get from here to here. That's the constraint. So the art of life is to identify the constraints that are holding you back from achieving the goal that you want to achieve. And it could be something simple like finding a parking space. It could be something simple like getting your shopping done and so on. Continually ask, what is the constraint or limiting factor is what they call it, the limiting factor between here and where you want to go. So you say to yourself, all right, you want to achieve a particular goal. So you ask yourself, what is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve that goal? What is the one factor that determines the speed at which you achieve your most important goal? And you work with your downline, you work with your consultants, you work with other people, and you help them to be absolutely clear. And don't try to change the world. Try to change one thing, one factor. Try to alleviate the one factor, and that'll change your whole life. The other principles that we have, the number 4 is constraints. Number 5 is continuous learning and development, is dedicate yourself to becoming better and better at what you do. It must be a part of your life. You must breathe in, breathe out, and learn new things. Self-made millionaires, self-made billionaires spend 60 to 90 minutes every day studying their field, reading new material. Warren Buffett was just relegated from number 3 to number 4, richest man in the world. And Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Warren Buffett reads 5 to 8 hours a day. Warren Buffett reads 7 days a week. He reads all the time. Number 6 is commitment. And we know this because you talked about it a lot. Commitment is really important. There's no success without commitment, without you putting your whole heart into what you're doing and putting your whole heart into what you're doing for a long time. But if you do, there is no limit on what you can accomplish. As you get up in the morning and you make a decision that, by gum, I am going to succeed in this business no matter how long it takes, no matter how many hours a day. And number 7 is courage. And courage, Winston Churchill said, courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues, for upon it all others depend. And in courage, what you have is 2 parts. The first part of courage is the courage to begin, to launch, to take a chance, to face failure and rejection, to try something with a very great possibility that you will fail and you'll feel embarrassed and upset and your self-esteem will go down and so on. But the second part of courage is persistence. It's the power to keep going and keep pushing yourself and driving yourself. How do you develop this unshakable quality of persistence, which will guarantee your success in life? Nothing can stop you if you don't quit. If you don't quit, then the only alternative is you must succeed, and eventually you must succeed greatly. Well, the great rule, you become what you think about, but you become what you say to yourself. So what you do is you say to yourself these magic words. You say, I never give up. Say it. Say, I never give up. I never give up. I never give up. I like myself and I never give up.